Employees of the Estacada School District, welcome back to the new school year. I couldn't be more excited to kick off in-service today. I know that we are surrounded by a talented group of people that are committed to achieving excellence for our students and our community. I wish I could be joining you in person today, but this pandemic continues to give us opportunities to innovate and deliver content in new ways, something I saw you all do last year as well. And I'm very proud of what we accomplished, and you should be too. Regardless of the format, I'm grateful for this opportunity to connect with you before we start this new year. Today, I hope to set clear, high expectations for the upcoming year, as well as give you the information you need to do your job in alignment with our district's mission, vision, and values. The vision delivered here today is one that we will need to continue to bring to the forefront this year, despite whatever changes the pandemic, the education system, and life throw our way. I hope so much that you had a restful summer and are prepared to dive into this new year with enthusiasm and maximum effort. Whether you are new to the district or starting your 20th year here, I'm glad that you've decided to join our team. It is my pleasure now to introduce Ken Rydell, our school district's board chair.
Thank you, Superintendent Carpenter, and good afternoon, everyone. So excited to be able to be here with you today. Want to start with just a thank you. Thank you so much for everything that you guys have brought to the table, especially over the last 17 months. These have been unparalleled times with unimaginable experiences. Some of them really great, some of them very challenging. And so thank you. There were times when we had to pick each other up because we were struggling. There were times when we got to pat each other on the back for a job well done. And then there were those times where, gosh, we just needed to be together. Whether in person or virtually, we were together to support each other as we managed through this. So on behalf of me, on behalf of your Estacada School Board, a sincere and absolute thank you for all that you do each and every day and for what you will do as we move forward into this next school year. So when we think about this upcoming school year, everyone is aware we have a strategic plan. We put that into place a couple years ago, and what is so exciting is we're starting to see progress specifically tied to the actions and the activities of that strategic plan. So now that we have it and it's rolling, now's the time where we continue to build. And that's where that continued energy, the continued effort, and continued support of each other is going to help grow those results exponentially so that we can get to that goal of being the premier educational school district in the state in the very near future. And so thank you again for all of your support with that. I know we have several new teachers and employees joining us this year. So if you're new to the group, raise your hand, meet somebody new. If you see somebody you don't know, now's the time to go introduce yourself and welcome them to the Estacada School District family. We are so blessed to have new members joining our team, new members joining our community, and excited of what they're going to bring, not only for our students, but also for our staff as a whole. So again, thank you so much for all that you do every day, especially for what you've managed through over the last 17 months, and certainly for your commitment as we move forward into this upcoming school year, still not knowing exactly what it's going to look like each and every day. But if this district demonstrated anything over the last almost year and a half, is that it doesn't matter what comes up. It doesn't matter what the challenge is. It doesn't matter what the obstacle is. You're up for the challenge, and rest assured, you will deliver the very, very best to our students and each other. So thank you again on behalf of the School Board of Directors. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for what you bring to the community. And most importantly, thank you for what you bring to the students.
Thank you, Chair Rydell, for your kind words on behalf of our great school board, a tremendous group of individuals that are helping lead our district to new heights. So thankful for your service. The Estacada School District is such a great place to work, and we have a great community and great students to serve. Today, I'm going to be going over some of the uncompromising values in our district. These are core beliefs that we know will lead us to achieve great things, and we will want to support your understanding and aligned belief in our district's visions. Today, I want to reintroduce you to our strategic plan. Our district strategic plan is entering its third year, and it's our roadmap to achieving success for all students. Our 5 strategic pillars are successful students. With the goal of ensuring that 85% of our students are proficient in all essential learning standards, we have made progress towards this goal. But at 72% last year, we have a ways to go to close that gap this year. Collaborative and inclusive culture. Our goal was to score a 4.12 on our employee engagement survey. We've already surpassed that, scoring a 4.18. We are glad that the intentional action plans our leaders have put in place are making a difference. And we will continue to listen to your feedback and adjust accordingly. Engaged families and community. We hope to score a 3.88 on the parent engagement survey last year, and we also blew past that target, scoring a 3.97. Thank you for participating in the intentional work of calling families, sending home notes, and taking pride in the customer service that we deliver. It has not gone unnoticed, and the data reflects that. Updated facilities. An important goal during COVID. This pillar's goal was to score a 3.9 on the statement, "My school is clean," in the student engagement survey. It most recently scored a 4.04, and I am proud that the safety of our facilities continues to be a priority. And transparent finances. Our goal was to maintain a clean audit, which we have done for 3 years in a row now. I am excited to continue to build this pillar with the welcoming of our new finance director, Christina Weinerd. These goals are tracked diligently in our district scorecard, and the data has shown us that our improvement plans are contributing to meaningful improvements. We are truly measuring what matters, and we are making adjustments based on feedback. Our employee engagement adjustments are a great example. You told us that receiving advance notifications on district news and decisions was important to you. We started tracking and prioritizing providing communication to you 24 hours ahead of families. Our baseline data showed that we did that 89% of the time. We've increased that number to 93.5%. We also integrated your feedback into our back to school plan. We collected feedback from more than 300 staff members and families, and almost 20% of the draft plan was altered as a result of your feedback. We've also introduced new systems like our monthly employee forum that I enjoy a great deal. We will continue to let the data lead us to making great decisions and improvements on our journey to be a premier school district to work and learn in. I am so excited to launch our Standards of Excellence this year as one unified organization. So much collaboration and teamwork was invested in these culture-shaping actions. I want to thank our great Standards of Excellence committee, comprised of each role and job description of our great school district. This is exceptional work that I believe will transform our culture for the better. At Estacada Schools, we believe that values define organizations. An organization's core values are the beliefs that guide the actions and the words of individuals within the organization. Values align to the purpose and strategic aims of the organization and serve as the foundation and barometer for decision-making and planning. When organizations successfully live out their values, alignment of strategy, action, and mindsets, it becomes obvious to all students and employees, but also parents and community members. You can feel it. For our values to become meaningful in our organization, they need to walk the halls, not just live on the walls. Making values come alive in an organization includes intentional steps of keeping them at the forefront of communications and actions. Inside our great school district, this will be accomplished through our ever-improving communications channels and systems of reward and recognition. Here is what you can expect from the Estacada School District as we collectively make these standards walk the halls. Each month, we will highlight one value and include a Connect to Purpose story in the communication. We will align team meeting agenda items to our organizational values. We will include a values in action story in our weekly communications to employees and bi-weekly communications to students. We will recognize an employee of the month for living our organizational values. We will recognize a student in each school building for success aligned to our organization's values. And lastly, we will create opportunities for peers to reward each other for living out these values. National data overwhelmingly shows that people want to work in organizations known for excellent service. We have all experienced the person who is clearly not smiling on the other end of the phone or not happy to see us walk in the doors. When we are looking for help, finding someone eager to assist makes all the difference. Working alongside colleagues committed to providing excellent service makes us proud to be a part of our school and our organization. It also makes it difficult to leave. The Estacada School District's reputation is preceded by its level of service. If we can establish and hold each other accountable to standards of service excellence, we can also foster a culture of high performance. Collectively, creating and using standards of service excellence at all levels of our school district show our employees, students, families, and community members that they are valued and welcomed in our school district. According to Huron Education, high-performing employees want to be a part of an organization with high standards for internal and external service. A focus on achieving customer-focused solutions, a reputation for having high-performing employees, and standards that guide the way teams work together and with the community. As you can see, I'm so excited about this work, and this has been a missing component of our great school district. These standards will help us better understand our purpose as well as our individual and collective why, and help us better define and understand who it is we want to be as an individual, a department, a building, and an organization for learning. But Ryan, some will say, this is just another way to evaluate me. But we are doing this work correctly. It should never come up in your performance evaluations. However, in order for this work, we have to hold each other accountable. Not in the sense of performance evaluation, but in the sense of holding each other accountable to the execution of the standards. Now, please understand this. When I use the word accountable, I actually mean you can count on me to do what I said I would do. Execution is a must in order for our school district to reach its goals. The 3 principles which we learned in DHP Academy that create solid, hardwired execution according to Quinn Studer's execution framework are accountability, consistency, and reliability. Consistency and reliability make up the foundation of the triangle, while at the apex is accountability. Now, when I say the word accountability, it means we can hold ourselves accountable to doing what we said we would do. It means you can count on me, we can count on each other, and we build trust by following through on our actions. According to Deming, 70% of all improvement efforts fail because organizations didn't execute it well. Reliability is a cornerstone to execution. Let's be intentional to hold ourselves accountable in the execution of our standards of excellence. Let's be reliable and consistent in our actions, and let's execute because culture outperforms strategy every time, and culture with strategy is unbeatable. So how is our culture doing right now? The evidence would suggest that we are making incredible improvements as we make targeted changes to create the best place to work environment for our employees. In our first 90-day improvement cycle, our overall employee engagement score increased substantially. Key improvements were in the district's overall care for our employees' well-being, transparent communication, and making decisions in the best interest of the school district. In fact, in our second ever 90-day improvement cycle, our school district already surpassed its year-long goal. We are so happy to see this growth, but it did not come by accident. Each leader inside our organization facilitated a collaborative rollout, collected every employee's voice, developed action strategies, and measured the results of those strategies to ensure that the impacts were desired and working in the right directions. Using our own district score in comparison with hundreds of other school districts across the United States, our employees placed the Estacada School District in the 80th percentile of satisfied employees. This means our employees are more engaged than 80% of the school districts who participate in the survey. This is evidence of a culture holding itself accountable to being consistent and reliable. Our culture of service excellence is already transforming in a positive direction. Let's hold each other accountable, which means you can count on me. Times are changing right in front of our very eyes. We live and work in interesting times. It's hard to turn on the TV, open a newspaper, read a social media post, or even talk to a colleague without being reminded that public education has sailed off the edge of the map as we know it and is now navigating in uncharted waters. In public educations, many things have changed, and yes, those changes are quite dramatic. Yet many other things, which may ultimately be the most important things, have stayed the same. The premise of my speech to you today is that in order to survive and thrive, the Estacada School District must continue to create and maintain a culture of high performance. Essentially, what we are being asked to do is dismantle some parts of our organization and build upon others. And while it's not always easy to dismantle something that has been around for years, it is doable. For example, we're being asked to consider student achievement as we evaluate teachers and leaders. Increasing pressures in educational systems demand that leaders enhance their skill sets to better manage human performance. Technology has pushed educational institutions to be more customer-based, meeting the demands of families and turning our classrooms into hybrid, virtual, and in-person platforms for learning. But the biggest and most profound challenge we've had to deal with, and the one that's requiring the biggest adjustment inside schools, is the move from episodic change to continuous change. We all know the reform initiatives that we have experienced in the past decades, both nationally, stately, and locally. In the past, those initiatives have been like standards-based grading, ballot measure 98, no child left behind, SIM and CAM, etc. All had implementation pains and struggles, but we could work through that and then let the system settle. Some of you, if you didn't like that one, you could just survive for a few years and wait for the next big one to come down the pipeline. In John Cotter's book called Leading Change, he talks about the challenges and intense pressures that arise when business cultures go from one kind of change to the other. Certainly, this is true in educational institutions as well. Moving from episodic change to continuous change is like a sprinter becoming a marathon runner. It requires different muscles and different endurance. I get it. Change is hard. It reminds me of a great story I heard once about change, or really a story about resistance to change. So a guy was in a doctor's appointment, and the doctor said to him, "Man, you are in terrible shape. On the chart, it appears you haven't had a checkup in 10 years, and many of your organs are beginning to fail you. You are obese, and I'm going to give you just about 30 days to live." The guy says, "Doctor, this is terrible news. Is there anything I can do to reverse course or slow the process down? There's still so much I want to do." The doctor says, "Well, the first thing you need to do is change your diet. You need to eat healthier. Your wife and you will need to prepare different meals and entirely change your lifestyle." The guy says, "Awesome, okay, but Doc, I just don't know if I can tell my wife this news and the changes that we have to make for me to live longer. Do you think you could call her and tell her all the things that she needs to do to help me?" The doctor reluctantly says, "Okay, I can do that." So later that day, the guy comes home and he says to his wife, "Did you hear the terrible news? Did the doctor talk to you? Did he tell you about the changes that we need to make? What did he say?" The wife says to the husband, "Yes, he did. And it sounds like you have 30 days to live." Change is hard. To change requires hard work. Change in the dictionary is defined as to make the form, nature, content, future course, etc., of something different from what it is, or from what it would be if left alone. When I look at this definition, the word left alone really stood out to me. How many of us are saying, "I just want to be left alone so that I can do my job without being bothered by my boss, my PLC team, by parents, by state mandates, by the superintendent"? Are you so set in your ways that you are beyond changing? Or is your craft, regardless of your years of experience, are always a work in progress? I think this is why today's external environment is so hard on frontline supervisors, leaders, directors, and employees. Everything we do and have been trained on is based upon episodic change, but those days are long gone. If you are excited to get back into the classroom to revert back to the normal way things were pre-pandemic, then you're drinking your own bathwater. In order to thrive in this new world, we need to work a whole different muscle set, mindset, and range of emotional skills to operate in a field of continuous change. Today, we are no longer sprinters. We are high-performing marathon runners. It is my hope that in the last 4 years, you have seen our school district build a strong foundation of systems to handle the influx of continuous change, which comes to us in many different forms. At the district level, we have created a strong strategic plan reflective of the voices of the community and employees. We have built a scorecard and used goals to measure our achievement progress towards the mission, vision, and values of the strategic plan. We have collected validated data to measure the impacts of change through our employee engagement, student engagement, parent satisfaction, and quality service surveys. We have also incorporated new tools to collect voice and data to ensure that multiple people have more opportunities to participate in key decisions and improve our systems. Another example is when our district shifted to an inclusive practices model and we began welcoming all students at their neighborhood schools and with their peers. As you recall, there were lots of broken systems from where we were to where we wanted to be. Frustration, missing procedures were only a few of the feedback the data was telling us. We quickly brought a team of people who were closest to the work, and we began dissecting the systems that seemed to be broken and/or holding us back. Although things are still not perfect, we have been closely monitoring the impact of our changes, making small adjustments based on the feedback from the users and celebrating the wins as they come and reporting the data back to our DMAIC committee to keep our data on the table as we make more continuous changes. This is a great story of continuous improvement using very advanced tools to tackle extremely complex systems to make our systems better. The district has used data like this to make surgical changes based on the feedback to move us closer to that best-in-class school district we all want to be a part of. Another best-in-class example is our building custodial teams, who have done incredible improvement work during this pandemic. Their goal has been to improve their daily cleaning scores. Each day, the lead custodian reviews the work done by the night crew and gives it a 1 through 5 rating. Throughout the school year, the score continued to improve. Our great custodial team used this data to make major and minor adjustments to all of their learning environments to make sure they were clean and safe. As the world continuously changed around them, from CDL to hybrid to in-person learning, our custodial team stayed anchored on their cleaning scores and their own personal improvement journey. I am so proud of your commitment to making our aging buildings best in class for teaching and learning. One more example that I think is incredible is it is no secret that our district's technology department has been in need of improving its quality customer service to both employees and students. I love our tech team and new leader, Christy Cheshire, because they will vulnerably share with you that this is what the voice of the employee, parents, and students have told them as they collect data and feedback on quality service. Our tech team is comprised of 3 people and a few student interns, expected to support hundreds of employees, thousands of students, and almost 10,000 pieces of technological equipment. Last summer, they discovered a problem. It was taking too long to clean Chromebooks. I mean the actual sanitation of Chromebooks, but also the erasing of the data from one user to the next. Last summer, it took 7 minutes to clean, erase, prepare, and in some cases, repair one Chromebook. This was required for almost 2,000 Chromebooks, and our tech team passed out Chromebooks to our families with a quality that did not meet our standards. This time also prevented our tech team from serving our employees as they had major tech needs as they embarked in teaching and learning in our new, continuously changing world. This also cost the district unexpected funds as we had to make an emergency hire for help to get the job done. The team put their heads together and began measuring their changes and getting creative with the way to cut down on the time. This summer, thanks to great teamwork, they developed a system of innovation that has cut their turnaround time to 60 seconds per computer. Signed, sealed, and delivered. What a tremendous story of a team and their improvement journey. This improvement led to higher morale inside the tech department. It has led to increased response time to service needs and has allowed us to provide our families with a quality technology product to ensure good access to each classroom in our district. Excellent improvement work. I love harvesting wins like that and telling our story. This is the good work. This is what makes our work meaningful and impactful. I know there are some listening to this who may be thinking, oh great, here's another shiny new object. Here is the episodic change that I've been waiting for. But I'm telling you, this work is already happening in our organization. You are already doing short cycles of improvement in your daily work right now. I just gave you 2 examples of actual intentional improvement work occurring in front of our very eyes. PLCs are also all about short cycles of improvement. You create a common formative assessment, you get the data back. You make instructional adjustments based on the data, you measure again. These are unit by unit improvement cycles. Grading is another example of a short cycle of improvement. Each unit starts with a fresh data point, evidence is collected, adjustments are made by students, and the measurements happen again, unit by unit, quarter by quarter, semester by semester, and so on. Each morning, our cooks come to work and begin efficiently serving healthy meals in mass volumes to our students. Each day they make adjustments based on the time it takes to make 1,800 Ranger burgers, or my personal favorite, tater tot casserole. Teachers assign an essay and get the results. They provide feedback, the students make revisions, and submit it back again. That's a short cycle of improvement. Our grounds team is measuring how long it takes to mow fields so we can maximize efficiency to address other grounds and facility needs. They're doing an awesome job, by the way. Scott Fish and Randy Stockwell, you are awesome. The 9th grade freshman on-track team is an improvement team. Building teacher leadership teams are improvement teams. Our IEPs are all about short cycles of improvement, goals, and adjustments. This is not new, nor is it shiny. In fact, it is very messy. But this is the work we already do. Let's be more intentional about it, and let's use the data to tackle our problems of practice and barriers within the system. I love this work because everyone gets to play. This is not top-down. We are all conducting our own improvement cycles to make our organization better. Let's go. So here is my challenge to you. Are you willing to make daily changes based on your own data? Let me ask you this. When was the last time you adjusted your teaching style based on student voice? How can you begin measuring student turn-in or submission ratio and make personal adjustments to assignments, due dates, and develop checkpoints along the way to improve that ratio? I know this is a big problem for some of our secondary teachers. Let's start experimenting with a different approach based on data. How can you measure student satisfaction with our lunch and breakfast menu to make targeted adjustments to make improvements towards student satisfaction with the food we serve? Do we know every student by first name as they walk onto our buses? How is that data leading to diffusing behavior situations on the bus? As we drive the bus, are we smiling and waving at people as they drive by? How does this commitment to excellence improve what our community thinks about its school district and the drivers who represent it? Are we using our grading system to determine student readiness? And how are we developing and deploying our school counselor resources and social emotional health resources to surround our kids who need it most? What data are we looking at as a team to determine if the IEP accommodations are in fact allowing our students to access grade level content? How can we get students to co-own this improvement work? Can they set goals before the unit begins? Can our teachers come alongside each student and boost their engagement by allowing them to conduct their own short cycle of improvement? How can a PLC team analyze collaboratively, create measures developed by a theory, study the problem, and then create an improvement and over time close the gaps together? How can we keep the data on the table in a world of continuous change? We have to make our adjustments based on what the data is telling us. But we have to aim high, start small, and keep going. Improvement is messy, but you have to just start. I know so many people who work here. I might categorize myself as one of them, who needs everything clean, organized, neat, and tidy, and perfectly in a box before I'm ready to start anything. Are you one of these people? There are others who have written to me or our leaders, before I start, I need to see scholarly backing behind it, other school districts who are implementing this successfully, and I want the names and phone numbers of people who agree with it and disagree with it in those organizations. And then I need lots of training from both external and internal experts. Now I'm generalizing for fun, but do you know some of these people? And don't point at them. We need people like them on our team. Hey, but we also have people on our team who are messy. You've had to step over stacks of paper, tinker toys, and supplies as you walk into their classrooms or office space. We need people like this on our team too. My point is, if you are engaging in improvement, then you have to be okay with messy, and you just have to start. There is only one way to do improvement work wrong, and that's to do nothing at all. Don't wait for perfect. Don't wait for organized. Just start. Here is my 90-day challenge to our great organization. District. The district has established goals aligned to the strategic plan around student success and the readiness indicators: employee engagement, student voice, upgraded facilities, quality service, and financial transparency. To our schools, the principals, vice principals, and teacher leadership teams, we have just identified how we will more closely monitor students at risk through the readiness indicators of 80% achievement in essential learning standards, 80% attendance, and 80% of our benchmarks hit on time. What will we do in the next 30, 60, and 90 days to keep the data on the table and make adjustments based on that feedback? How will we measure the impact of our continuous changes? How will we know if we made the right decisions? Did we execute well? And what do we need to do next time? Do we need to make adjustments? What is the data telling us to do? To our great operations department and employees, how are we measuring our quality service to support our students and the learning in the classrooms? To our PLC teams, in the last 4 years, we have grown so much in the DeFore PLC 4 questions. I would say our strength as a district-wide in PLC is question 1, what is it we want our students to learn? And question 2, how do we know if they've learned it? I challenge any solution tree model PLC school district to beat us in our processes in those 2 areas. But how are we measuring the impact of our improvement strategies in question 3 and question 4? That's what will we do for students who have not yet demonstrated proficiency, and what will we do for students who have? What will our PLC teams do in the next 30, 60, and 90 days to keep the data on the table and make adjustments based on the feedback? How will you measure the impacts of the continuous changes? And how will you know if you made the right decisions? How do you execute well? And what will you do next time? Do you need to make adjustments? What is the student learning data telling you to do? Our great teachers and learning specialists, how do we keep the learning and outcomes visible for students in the classroom? Unit by unit, standard by standard, can our classes or course sections create whole class goals and chart our overall improvement journey over the course of the semester or year? And lastly, to our students. For years, I have been a part of multiple conversations wishing that our students would play a more active role in the ownership of their learning and developing more agency. How can we develop systems in our classrooms to allow our students to create personal learning goals in each unit or each essential learning standard? How can we provide space and time for them to chart and monitor their learning in accordance with their goals? How can we keep their own data on the table, harvest when, and make adjustments based on their feedback? How can we support our teachers in leveraging the systems that activate wraparound supports to support the child when barriers are revealed? How will our students measure the impact of continuous changes? How will they know if they executed well? What adjustments do our students need to make? What is their own learning data telling them to do? How do we as an organization shift our way of thinking to support them in their own journey and their own personal short cycles of improvement? This is an improvement in action aligned through the entire organization, each engaged in their own cycles of improvement. Now, I just described what I think a 5 would look like in our organization, but by no means are we there yet. So let's just get started and let's make it messy. Pat Greco, a student leader whom I deeply respect, says, if it's not messy, then you're not improving. But it's also important to keep this work simple. Stay away from the complex things that will bog you and your team down. What could be a simple and quick hitter, a fast, short, high leverage change to meet the needs of the student and or the data? Now, some of you may be saying, well, we already do this, or I already do that. Well, that's awesome. So I challenge you to start asking yourself, how will you do it differently to get different and or improved results? How do you know when you or your team have made something better? Improvement happens when people are curious, empowered, and persistent, meaning not giving up. The most important thing we can teach ourselves and our students in today's continuously changing world is to never give up. Help me dismantle the parts of our organization that are no longer efficient and effective, and help me build upon the parts of our organization that are. For the last 4 years, we have been building foundations, frameworks, and systems to support evidence-based cycles of improvement. Our organization is officially ready to become more intentional about measuring our actions. But Ryan, you ask, we might fail. That's okay. I'll actually go one step further. You will fail. You will fail. And I know that this is not a normal thing to say in our line of work, but we are calling this failing forward, and we encourage it. Here is one quick story about your building principals, district leaders, and I failing forward together. Last year, as you well know, our goal is for 80% of the students to pass 100% of their essential learning standards. Let me say that again. In order to receive high school credit, a student must demonstrate proficiency in each of the 8 to 12 standards the PLC deems is most essential. Therefore, a kid must pass all of these essential learning standards. We made a goal that 80% of all kids, K-12, would pass 100% of the essential learning standards. This was lofty in the pandemic, but we said, let's just start. Let's get messy. Each week we met as a team. We looked at the data. Mike Ware created an incredible dashboard. We could see it student by student, and each week we watched the data. We tried asking questions about systems problems. We looked for ways that we could support our PLC teams and our learning specialists. We asked more questions. The data was on the table. The problem was we kept using the end result as our measuring stick. We were using lagging data instead of leading data. I know that classroom teachers will identify with this because our fail was classic. We used summative assessment as our goal and kept measuring the summative assessments as our indicators of if we were on track or not. We had not other measurements established to help us make different changes or evaluate benchmarks. We literally were using your test days, or when you put your summative assessments in the grade book, as our leading indicators. Well, it was too late by then, and we couldn't help, and our help to you came late. But this was awesome because we failed forward. And by the way, we had to fail in order to learn this lesson. Now, I'm still proud that 72% of students passed 100% of their ELSs, but we have learned that we need real leading data measures in order to create actual good change. It is in this fail forward that led to our readiness indicators that we believe that flagging students who are not passing classes, are chronically absent, or not hitting their benchmarks on time will allow us to deploy resources to support teachers in the classroom. There are so many resources at our disposal to help our kids. We are excited to coordinate our wraparound supports and allow our new readiness indicators to act as real-time levers for teachers to pull as we all work to serve each kid in the classroom. Will it work? I have no idea, but this is what the data is telling us to do. It's going to be messy, and it would be a shame if we didn't just start. I can tell you so many other stories of my own failures in this work, but that is the work. Just keep improving. So just start with us. Be vulnerable, take a risk, fail forward, write down every move you make so it gets repeated or not repeated, collect each and every win, commit to high standards of service excellence, and tell your story to anyone who will listen. And let's together build an army of improvers and slowly yet consistently and reliably build a culture of excellence inside your place of employment, the great Estacada School District. So let's hold each other accountable for this work. And what I mean by accountable is you can count on me. Can we count on you? Let's get fired up and let's get messy. Now ask your supervisor a whole bunch of questions. May the Estacada Schools continue to be a great place for students to learn, for teachers to teach, for employees to work, and for parents to send their children. Let's go.